Where are you planning to go at this hour, Sandra? Being stopped made my heart skip a beat. Just to the store. I clutched the red paper in my hand. I was actually planning to take it to the police, but being confronted unexpectedly threw me off, and I couldn't cover it up well. Gathering my resolve, I told my son-in-law the contents of the message I received from my daughter. Is this true? The message from my daughter said her husband was trying to kill her to collect a large insurance payout. Oh, that. Henry, my son-in-law, said nonchalantly, then his expression changed suddenly, and he began to speak. I married your daughter because I heard she got a big settlement from her previous husband when they divorced. But she hasn't given me a penny. So, I changed my strategy. Henry continued talking with a sinister smile, as if he found something amusing. His expression was creepy and terrifying. Didn't you also get a big insurance payout from your late husband? Henry was even targeting the insurance money I received from my late husband. I thought, just like you got the insurance money, I could get it too. Henry had planned to make my daughter's death look like an accident to collect both her inheritance and life insurance. What a horrifying thing to think! At that moment, Henry's hand reached out and grabbed my arm. He tried to snatch the letter from my hand with great force. I resisted desperately. This was important evidence left by my daughter to expose this man's crimes. I was shoved by Henry and fell on my backside. Just when I thought it was all over, the front door opened. This was the beginning of Henry's downfall. My name is Sandra Smith, and I'm a 62-year-old office worker. Though I say office worker, I actually retired once 2 years ago and was rehired as a contract employee. My husband passed away in an accident last year, and my 31-year-old daughter is already married, so now I live alone in the house my husband left behind. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't lonely, but I'm still able to work full-time, and I have a cute grandchild, so I was living a relatively fulfilling life. When my husband passed away, I received a large insurance payout. He had taken out the insurance for the family without us knowing. I saved the important insurance money he left behind for my grandchild Linda's future and my own old age. My daughter Monica remarried 2 years ago, bringing her then 3-year-old child, Linda, with her to her new marriage. Linda was born between Monica and her previous husband. Monica lives with her 5-year-old daughter Linda and her husband Henry, about a 30-minute drive away. Though Linda is a stepchild to Henry, there were no particular problems living together. My grandchild is literally so precious to me that she could do no wrong. Since Monica married Henry, she quit her job to become a full-time housewife, but I'm still healthy, so whenever needed, I took care of Linda or picked her up from kindergarten. I thought I had been supportive. However, at some point, Henry started persistently suggesting we all live together. Monica wants to go back to work soon. Plus, Linda loves Grandma so much. Wouldn't it be nice if we lived together, and you could help out when needed? Every time I saw him, Henry brought up the idea of us living together. Of course, I wanted to live with my daughter and grandchild. But I also wanted to continue working while I could and have the freedom to invite friends over occasionally. If Monica worked full-time, I could only work part-time. Aligning with Linda's kindergarten schedule and living in their house wouldn't allow me to have friends over as freely as I do now. Moreover, Linda was old enough not to need my daily care, and Monica, as a housewife, wasn't overwhelmed by just one child. So, every time Henry brought up the idea, I politely declined, saying, I don't want to be a burden to you. It wasn't a lie that I didn't want to burden the young couple, married for only 3 years. However, if I were to be honest, I didn't like Henry. I have always been frugal, spending money only on necessities and living simply. Henry, on the other hand, was extravagant and a spendthrift, the exact opposite of me. I couldn't imagine living with someone whose values were so different from mine. But Henry kept bringing up the topic of living together. My daughter Monica was also a frugal and unpretentious person. She seemed to have been attracted to Henry, who was the complete opposite of her previous husband. Monica often brought Linda over to my place on my days off. Linda always brought her favorite picture book, and I would read it to her. It was a delightful time spent with my grandchild. Linda, despite having heard the story multiple times, would react with genuine surprise or laughter when I read it to her. For me, watching her various expressions was also a joy. Recently, Linda's favorite stories were folk tales. She often begged me to read them, and she was thrilled when I read with great expression. That day too, Monica and Linda came over, and I was reading a picture book as usual. While Linda seemed to be having fun, Monica looked unwell recently. Looking closely, her cheeks were gaunt and she seemed thinner. Moreover, her clothes were faded and pilling. Even though she was frugal, she looked too shabby. Her hair was long and tied up, but it seemed she hadn't been to a hair salon in a long time. "Are you eating properly? You look like you've lost some weight." When I asked, my daughter just smiled vaguely and said, "I'm fine." "That clothes, even if you're being frugal, shouldn't you throw it away soon? It's time to get a new one." I chose my words carefully. Monica received a settlement when she divorced her previous husband, so even as a housewife, she should have some money to spend freely. Wearing such worn-out clothes might affect Linda. Like feeling embarrassed when picked up from kindergarten. I offered to buy new clothes if she didn't have money, but she refused. "They're not torn yet, so I can wear them a little longer." Feeling something was off with Monica's resigned tone, I remembered the last time I saw Henry. He was dressed in a brand new designer suit. If Monica chooses to wear old clothes, so be it, but I felt uneasy seeing Henry indulging in luxuries while his wife dressed so poorly. Henry was wearing a brand new designer suit. Monica could at least buy some casual clothes. Henry needs it for work. He has to look neat and tidy. I'm a housewife, I don't need new clothes. I asked her more about life with Henry, but Monica evaded my questions, perhaps trying not to worry me. One day at work, I got a rare call from Henry. When I answered, I heard Henry's frantic voice saying, Monica had a car accident while picking up Linda. I hurriedly got permission to leave work and rushed to the hospital. Monica was unconscious and in critical condition. "Monica! What happened?" When I entered the room, Henry was there with a pale face, and Linda was crying, not understanding what was happening. I picked up Linda, soothing her while asking Henry about the situation. Monica was hit by a car in a hit-and-run while picking up Linda from kindergarten. The doctor said she was in critical condition but had survived. "Monica, how could this happen? Who would do such a terrible thing as a hit-and-run?" Seeing my daughter with her eyes closed and wearing an oxygen mask, tears wouldn't stop flowing. Linda, seeing this, used her little towel to wipe my tears. "Thank you, Linda." Linda, who had stopped crying, replied with a newly learned "You're welcome." If Monica couldn't witness her daughter's growth, it would be heartbreaking for her as a mother. I prayed silently, staring at Monica's closed eyes. "So, did they catch the culprit?" "The police said they haven't caught the person yet. But there were witnesses who said the driver was a young woman, not an elderly driver, which is common these days." Henry's voice trailed off, and then he collapsed at my feet. "Henry? Are you okay?" I gently put Linda down and knelt beside Henry. A nurse quickly called a doctor, who treated Henry and let him rest in a bed. The stress from his wife's accident has taken a toll. He should be fine after some rest. The doctor's words surprised me. I was astonished that Henry had such affection for Monica that he collapsed from stress after seeing her condition. For me, this was unexpected. It also made me reconsider my impression of Henry. Seeing Monica in shabby clothes and her frail state, I had partly blamed Henry. But seeing his reaction as Monica's partner made me reflect on my prejudices and negative feelings toward him. I decided that if Monica recovered, I would consider living together with them, as Henry had suggested. When Henry woke up, I took Linda and went to their house with him. Henry apologized, saying, "I'm sorry for all the trouble today," and I responded, "You went through a lot too, Henry. Leave the rest to me and get some rest," and let him rest in the bedroom while I took care of Linda. Still in her kindergarten uniform, I helped her change and gave her something to eat. After eating, Linda calmed down and took out a red paper. Something was drawn from the bag Monica always carried to kindergarten. "Are you giving this to Grandma?" "Yeah. It's from Mom. She told me to give it to you secretly, without telling Dad." Linda also took out a white and brown paper from the bag to show me. "Did Mom give you all of these?" Linda nodded enthusiastically. Recently, Linda's favorite colors have been white and brown, and she frequently asks to wear those colors. I wondered if Monica gave these colors paper because Linda likes them. But as I looked at them, something didn't quite add up. "Linda, you like this color, but you don't like red, right? So why did Mom give the one that you don't like?" When I said I didn't want the red, Mom told me to give it to Grandma. It was strange that Monica had made a character Linda disliked and asked her to give it to me. Monica would never do something Linda hated, let alone ask her to give it to me. As I held the red paper and looked at it, I noticed some writing on the paper. There seemed to be something written on the back of the paper. Hastily, I unfolded it to find a letter from Monica addressed to me. The letter was filled with small, detailed writing, and its content was unbelievable. After reading the letter, I decided to confirm the truth of what was written by going to the bedroom where Henry was sleeping. Entering the room quietly, I saw that Henry was sound asleep and carefully rolled up the sleeve of his pajamas. And I noticed a cut on his arm. This was the evidence. My suspicions about Henry were confirmed. The letter stated that Monica had been attacked by a knife-wielding assailant a month ago when she went out alone. She had fought back desperately, and in the struggle, the attacker had cut his arm. When the attacker came at her again, he heard people talking and fled, leaving Monica unharmed. She should have gone to the police immediately, but it was almost time to pick up Linda from kindergarten, so she decided to report it after getting home. When she returned home with Linda, Henry was already there, even though it was still evening. He said he was nearby for work and decided to stop by. Henry did sometimes go out for work, but he had never come home in the middle of the day before. However, Monica was still shaken from the attack and worried about being attacked again on the way home from the kindergarten, so she was relieved to find her husband at home rather than suspicious of his behavior. Of course, she immediately told Henry about the attack, but Henry told her not to make a big deal out of it since nothing happened and discouraged her from reporting it. Monica couldn't understand why, but Henry strongly insisted, saying, "What if the attacker targets you again if we make a fuss?" So, she reluctantly agreed not to report it. No mother should ever have to worry about her daughter being attacked. Henry's warning made Monica uneasy, but she went along with it. For a while, everything seemed fine, but one day, Monica noticed a cut on Henry's arm after his bath. It was in the same place where the attacker had been injured that day. Although she couldn't believe it, suspicion grew within Monica. To clear her doubts, Monica began investigating Henry. After checking his phone, computer, and social media, she confirmed that Henry was having an affair. She then hired a professional to gather concrete evidence. The investigation revealed that Henry's mistress was a woman from his office. Henry had been buying her brand name items, taking her to fancy restaurants, and even traveling with her. Little by little, Henry's earnings weren't enough, and to spend more on his mistress, he kept borrowing money, causing his debt to balloon. Around the time Monica investigated all this, she remembered that a few months ago, Henry had convinced her to take out large life insurance policies on each other. As a housewife, Monica didn't need such a large insurance policy, but Henry had insisted with a plausible argument, and she had reluctantly agreed. Sensing that her life might be in danger, Monica entrusted a letter to Linda addressed to me, in case anything happened. At the end of the letter, she wrote, "If anything happens to me, please take care of Linda." With trembling hands, I put away the letter and waited for Linda to fall asleep before quietly heading out. I planned to take the letter to the police as quickly as possible. As I was about to leave through the front door, my heart skipped a beat when I heard someone call out from behind. "Where are you planning to go at this hour, Sandra?" Turning around, I saw Henry standing there with a suspicious look on his face. "Just to the store." "Leaving Linda behind? What are you going to buy at this hour?" I couldn't let him know I was going to the police. But I was so shaken that I couldn't think of a good excuse. Well, what was I going to buy? Did Monica tell you something? Caught off guard, I swallowed hard. I looked into Henry's eyes, trying to read what he was thinking, but I couldn't tell. I still had a faint hope that this was all a misunderstanding. I needed to know the truth. Gathering my resolve, I told Henry that I had received a letter from Monica. Is what's written here true? Oh, that. Henry, with a nonchalant attitude, admitted to the contents of the letter. I married your daughter because I heard she got a large settlement from her previous husband after their divorce. He continued, but she's such a miser, always talking about saving for Linda's future and not spending a dime. She's useless except for the money. By chance, I found the bank she had hidden. But there was less money than I expected. It wasn't enough. Monica had set up a separate account in Linda's name for the settlement money from her ex-husband. And I was keeping the bank card for that account. Henry probably only found Monica's account and didn't know about Linda's account. By the way, I also heard you got a large insurance payout from your late husband. I thought if we lived together, I could borrow from you to pay off my debts. But since you kept refusing to live with us, I had to come up with another plan. He was even after the insurance money I received from my late husband. I thought I could get insurance money just like you did. Henry had planned to make Monica's death look like an accident and collect both her inheritance and life insurance. What a horrifying thing to think! I kept my back to the front door, reaching for the knob to unlock it. Just as the door opened a crack, Henry grabbed my arm. He tried to snatch the letter from me with great force, and I resisted desperately. Ouch! Henry pulled my arm hard, causing me to fall on my backside. The impact caused the letter to fall from my hand, and Henry reached to pick it up. Give it back! Just when I thought all was lost, the door burst open, and the police stormed in. Are you okay? Are you hurt? One officer rushed to my side, helping me to my feet. In my stunned state, I watched as two other officers quickly apprehended Henry. Maria Wilson confessed to the hit and run. She told us everything about your plan. A dashcam from another car at the scene had captured Henry's mistress, Maria Wilson, running down Monica. Henry was arrested on suspicion of attempted murder. Flanked by two officers, Henry hurled insults as they led him to the police car. A few more steps and I would have succeeded, but that old hag got in the way. A few days later, I received a call from the hospital saying that Monica had regained consciousness. I left work early, picked Linda up from kindergarten, and rushed to the hospital. I'm so glad you woke up. Mom, I'm sorry for making you worry about so many things. Linda was also happy to see her mother awake for the first time in a while. After regaining consciousness, Monica gave a full statement to the police, leading to Henry's rearrest for the assault. After her discharge, Monica and Linda moved back in with me. I started living with my daughter and granddaughter. Despite Henry having been a father figure for over 2 years, Linda didn't seem too affected by his absence. Instead, she was thrilled to see me every day, saying, "Now we can be together every day, Grandma." Henry had been frequently absent due to his affairs, rarely coming home. Monica, through her lawyer, sent divorce papers to Henry in jail, successfully finalizing the divorce. Investigations revealed that Henry had multiple mistresses. The money I had in my account was used for the investigation, and Henry took the rest. He didn't know about the other account, so Linda's money was safe. Thanks to Linda following my instructions and giving Grandma the red paper, I was saved. You did great, Linda. Thank you. Linda beamed with pride at her mother's praise. Monica quietly murmured, "The bad person is gone now." Although Monica's physical wounds healed, she still needed counseling for some time. After all, she had faced 2 attempts on her life. Even so, she expressed relief that Linda was unharmed. As a mother, I understood her feelings completely. From now on, Monica and I would protect Linda with all our might, and we ourselves would strive for happiness. I was confident that the three of us could live even more joyfully